Hey working mom, welcome to Order Meets Style, the podcast that provides home organizing and home styling tips for working moms. I'm ZC Man, professional organizer with Firefly Bridge Organizing, and I'm here to provide you with simple ideas that don't take a lot of time to organize your home so that you can love the way your home looks and functions, and so you're proud to invite anyone over anytime without stressing out about clutter. Ready for a beautifully organized home that makes you smile every time you walk in? Let's make it happen. Welcome to Order Meets Style. I'm Zinat Siman. On this episode, I'm going to tell you about the 5 different types of clutter that exist and how to deal with each of them, so you can decide which type of clutter is your biggest issue right now. There are lots of ways to get ourselves organized, right? I mean, just go online and Google, how do I organize my house? And you'll see hundreds of hits, if not more. And seeing all of that can be paralyzing. That's what happened to me after we had our 3rd child. I was dealing with postpartum mental health issues. And then we moved to a new town where we didn't know anyone. We were managing with my husband's new job that required him to travel a lot. So I was by myself a lot of the time. And I decided once we'd moved into the new house that I needed to simplify everything. I mean, after the move, I really needed the kids' stuff to be placed for them so they could have the stability of their toys, their play areas, and I needed their school uniforms to be set, that kind of thing. Right, so I read books, articles, I went online, and I followed advice that told me we'll just do a tiny bit at a time. That was supposed to work because goodness knows I didn't have a full hour to spend on organizing and cleaning at the time, so a tiny bit sounded good to me. Only to find that the tiny bits weren't doing anything for me. Like, why not? These experts were telling me that a little bit at a time will work. But it wasn't for me. What was I doing wrong? Well, maybe I didn't have the money to spend on the containers. Maybe I didn't have the styling DNA that they naturally had. Maybe I didn't want to get rid of as much as I should be getting rid of. Well, let me just cut to the reason it wasn't working for me. And although it took me years to figure this out, right? The reason that a little organizing at a time wasn't working for me to keep my house and myself and my family organized is because I didn't understand my vision. I had no real clarity about what I was doing, what my goals and objectives were with organizing my home. I thought that, well, be organized and have a tidy home was a goal, but it wasn't enough to guide me. I was overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that I had to do. And for a long while, I gave up. And I told myself, well, it doesn't matter. I have small kids and my house is messy. So what? But the truth is that it affected me. Like, I didn't like inviting people over to my house. I felt that it was messy. And the messy house didn't feel like me. See, in my head, I was an organized person. I was an engineer. I was analytical. But when I thought about my house and organizing the stuff in it, it was like jumbled up yarn. Do you remember in the Charlie Brown cartoons when Charlie Brown was mad or he was confused, his speech bubble would just be jumbled up lines, like tangled yarn instead of words? Well, that's what I would see when I thought of organizing my house. It was a mystery to me, like why I couldn't just get this done. Well, see, when we see our disorganized homes as just messy and we can't get control over it, we're at risk of not doing anything about it at all because it's overwhelming. But if I had known about differentiating between the types of clutter at the time, then addressing just one type of clutter would have helped break through that wall of overwhelm because it's smaller, it's more doable, and it would make real progress towards my vision. Okay, so for this to work, you of course need to have that vision crystal clear. You've heard me say this before. It's step 1 of my CLEAR5 framework for decluttering and organizing. And you can hear more about that in episode 1 of the podcast. I go through all 5 steps. But then once you have your vision, taking small steps to get there will work. Now, if that's all it takes for you to stick to the one small organizing thing a day and get yourself organized, then go for it. That is awesome. But for a lot of us, the vision is just that. It's a vision. We need more tactics, more broken down, simple steps. And that's what knowing which of the 5 types of clutter is hampering you the most is going to do. It's going to help you focus down to the first area you should focus on. You take small steps in that area and you'll see progress quickly. You'll have a path you're following instead of just jumping from one thing to another in your house, like one hot fire to another urgent thing that needs to be organized, not for any reason other than you're seeing it. You're looking at it right now. That's what I was doing. And let me tell you, it got me nowhere. Okay, well, maybe it got me to unload my dishwasher every day because I had to. So we had dishes to eat from. But after that, I would move from spot to spot, work on one thing or another when I had time or when it was necessary. So let's get into the 5 types of clutter and how to address each. So here they are. One is physical clutter. This is what we typically think of as our clutter, like the piles of papers on our desk, the toys everywhere, the clutter in our cabinets and drawers and closets, the physical stuff. 2 is mental clutter. Mental clutter are all the to-dos in our heads, our schedules, how our time is being used, the things that keep us up at night. 3 is digital clutter. You know what this is. It's the files on our computers, the emails in our inboxes, the apps on our phones, the messages and calls and social media pings that we get. 4 is environmental clutter, because guess what? Our garbage is our clutter. It's our responsibility. And not only our garbage, but the things that we just donate without another thought because we need to get it out of our houses. And 5 is social clutter, which are the relationships that we have, whether they're serving us or not. Difficult interactions with coworkers, our bosses, our direct reports, our clients, and family strife or disagreements with our friends. So of these types of clutter, of these 5 types of clutter, really think about it. Which one is really bothering you right now? Which one is causing you the most angst, keeping you up at night? That's where you want to focus big time on organizing, because if you don't address that one first, it's always going to be the roadblock and the mind block to getting the rest organized. So how do you address each? Well, guess what? The CLEAR5 framework for decluttering and organizing works for each and every type of clutter. Yes, it does. Let's look at that real quick. Because look, I'm telling you how to do everything. I'm telling you what works. You know, I'm an engineer. I like to break problems down and categorize them and make them simple to view and to create a path to solve them. Like there are no secrets with me here, right? So first step is to create your vision of what you want in your life and in your home. That's a big step. It takes some thought. We do this individually or as a group in my programs. But let's say that you've got that. That's going to give you your ultimate goals, right? So then, if it's the physical clutter in your home that is the most pressing type of clutter for you to take care of, you're going to follow the next 4 steps of the CLEAR5 framework to create your game plan. You can choose to do the 10 minutes at a time plan, and that will work for you now that you have a goal in place from your vision. And the CLEAR5 framework will give you the structure, what you need to do. You'll focus on small areas if you want, and you'll set your limits. You'll edit your essentials, assign homes to your things, and review after you've organized that spot. Now, within those steps, you'll be identifying what you want to keep and what you will do to sustainably remove what you don't want anymore from your home. If it's mental clutter that's your biggest roadblock right now, your vision board is still the place you'll go to see your goals. And that will help you to limit what you do with your time, with your schedule, so you don't miss or forget about the most important stuff to you, your non-negotiables, I call them. That will help you to then edit your essential to-dos. You'll easily be able to see what should stay on your schedule and what needs to go. Because you can't do everything with the limited amount of time that you have on any given day. That's just a fact. But you can make choices that keep you on the path to your goals that you identified with your vision board. You'll also assign homes to the various to-dos and activities. So you're making sure that you don't miss out on things that you love. Time blocks are homes, don't forget. And then at the end of the week, you review what you've accomplished and you make adjustments for the next week. Now, that might sound like a lot, but I do this in about 30 minutes every Friday afternoon with a group of other working moms. We do this together over Zoom. And once you've done it once, it can be done so quickly. It's like plug and play. I even get my meal planning done in those 30 minutes too, because meal prep is a task that was causing me a lot of anxiety and annoyance each week. So if you'd like to join us to do that on Friday afternoons, let me know. If digital clutter is your biggest area of stress right now, then let's get that under control. Again, your vision will guide you to what your goals are in that area. You'll limit your digital spaces and time to only what's manageable for you. And you'll edit your digital assets and tools by really focusing on your essentials. So what does that mean? Edit your digital assets and tools by really focusing on your essentials. Well, that means getting control over your email inbox, figuring out how you like to use your task trackers, your to-do lists, organizing your digital files, reducing your apps and the notifications to only the most important ones so you can get your job done and meet your home responsibilities so you have time to pull away from the digital world that's coming at you and instead doing the stuff that you want to do, whether that's a hobby or spending time with your friends or your family. You'll then assign homes to your digital assets and tools, both on your digital devices, but also maybe setting some time aside to focus on your digital stuff and also setting some time away from the digital stuff during the day. And at the end of the week, as usual, you'll review and plan for the next week, which, like I said, we do during the 30-minute weekly planning. If your environmental clutter is causing you anxiety, you're going to use the CLEAR5 framework to make some changes to how you take care of the things you don't need or no longer want. You'll follow the 5 steps like you would for any other type of clutter. Especially important here is to identify and evaluate your recycling and donation places. For those of you that environmental clutter is really causing you stress, it will give you peace of mind to take the time to evaluate your recycling and donation options. You want to know what their operations are like, what they actually use, and what they end up throwing away because it's not useful to them. So you're not giving them things that they can't use or dispose of properly in a way that meets your expectations, right? I will tell you that in our modern working mom lives, it's extremely difficult to be as sustainable as we might want to be with the things that we want to get rid of, right? Like we're not homesteaders. I'm not repurposing every single jar and piece of plastic that comes into my house into bird feeders. And I'm not collecting and keeping bits and pieces of stuff in my garage until I might one day need them. I know myself, and I know I won't go digging into boxes of extra stuff for a piece of plastic or a jar later on. I keep what I believe I will use within the limits that I've set in my home, and that's it. If I need something later on, I'll look for alternatives before going out to buy something new, like I'll use something else instead, or I'll borrow or rent. So if environmental clutter is big for you, I want you to take comfort in the knowledge that you'll find your balance based on what resources are available to you as you get rid of things in your home. And also that you don't have to be a homesteader to live more sustainably each day, okay? And okay, the last one is if it's social clutter that's keeping you stuck, the CLEAR5 framework is going to give you clarity about what you can do here. It's not going to be easy to limit and edit your social clutter as you start, but as you continue, you'll find it will get easier. Even if you're an avoider like me, I do avoid things, I know that, because I want to create peace. So it's a struggle for me to make the conscious decision to remove social clutter from my life. But let me tell you what a difference it makes. I'm sure you've got examples too of decluttering something or someone socially and feeling relief and renewed focus from it. The CLEAR5 framework steps, those will help you to look at this analytically, methodically, so you're clear about what your vision is and what social interactions you need in your life. We want to support others, and we want to also be supported. We also have limited time and emotional resources to spend, so we need to have some care about who and what we allow to affect us. So as you go through the framework, you'll be able to set your limits. You'll make efforts to edit your social interactions so that you're spending energy on your essentials. You'll assign homes to your social interactions, to your social connections, meaning you'll be able to see what and who belongs or doesn't belong on your calendar. And you'll review that during your weekly planning time. Now, after I categorized my clutter all those years ago, I could see that physical and mental clutter were equally my biggest sources of stress. I hadn't developed my CLEAR5 framework yet, so I started with the physical clutter because it was tangible. I could move things, identify things to remove from my house, and I could see progress. And I did do it a tiny bit at a time. Since I really didn't understand the steps yet, it took me a long time to do it. Had I had someone showing me the CLEAR5 framework at the time, I think I would have started with mental clutter first, because I can look back now and see that if I had understood the toll that mental clutter was taking on me, and yet I had a calendar and schedule that I stuck to, but it had all the wrong stuff on it. But had I understood the steps to take to organize the mental clutter, the physical clutter would have been much easier to deal with. Well, you have the CLEAR5 framework, and now you know the 5 types of clutter. They're physical, mental, digital, environmental, and social clutter. And I've given you the gist of how you can address the one type that's keeping you stuck at the moment. And I want to invite you again to join the Organized Home Advantage group, where each week we talk about a specific area that can support you as you organize, or even after you're organized. It's a safe, non-judgmental space. Come on in and join us there, okay? I've put the link in the show notes for you. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode. After I categorized my clutter, I could see that physical and mental clutter were equally my biggest sources of stress. Now, I hadn't developed my CLEAR5 framework yet, so I started with physical clutter because it was tangible. I could move things, I could identify things to remove from my house, and I could see the progress. And I did it a tiny bit at a time. Since I didn't really understand the steps yet, it took me a long time to do it. Had I had someone showing me the CLEAR5 framework at the time, I think I would have started with the mental clutter first, because I can look back now and I can see that if I had understood the toll that mental clutter was taking on me, and yet I had a calendar and a schedule that I stuck to, but it had all the wrong stuff on it. Had I understood the steps to take to organize the mental clutter, the physical clutter would have been so much easier to deal with. I would have had the time and the mental energy to quickly and easily take care of the physical clutter. Well, so you have the CLEAR5 framework, and now you know the 5 types of clutter: physical, mental, digital, environmental, and social clutter. And I've given you the gist of how you can address the one type of clutter that's keeping you stuck at the moment. And I want to invite you again to join the Organized Home Advantage group, where each week we talk about a specific area that can support you as you organize. And even after you're organized, it's a safe, non-judgmental space. So come on in and join us there, okay? I've put the link in the show notes for you. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode.